Let's see. So what I'm here to talk about today is the bridge. Our CFWET program and our biological science program do incredible work developing a pipeline of students to pursue higher education and come to Montana Tech. The problem is making sure that those students are supported once they get there. And so I figured we'll do a little about just fast facts as far as Montana Tech. So Montana Tech was originally established as the School of Mines on the 11th of September, 1900. Unfortunate day when we look at modern day, but one building, 39 students, 2 degrees. Can anybody guess what those degrees were? Mining engineering and electrical engineering. And electrical engineering was so that we could electrify the mines in Butte. And then once that happened in 1904, it was shuttered. The next degree to come online was metallurgical and materials engineering that just celebrated their centennial last year. So as the campus has expanded, the programs have expanded. Now we're at about 2,300 as far as our enrollment. That counts both Montana Tech as well as Highlands College. So between the 3 entities, if you will, we have about 60 degree areas or focuses, whether that be master's, PhD, bachelor's, associates, and workforce certificates. Right now, the dynamic as far as male-female, 61 to 39%, that'll come up important later. You know, of those original 39 students, 2 were women. We had the first 2 female mining engineering students that graduated in 1904, Clara Clark and Isabel Little. We're really proud of that fact. What we're not proud of saying is that then it wasn't until 1972 that we had our next female graduate. So constantly trying to truly be better, expand, and supportive of our female STEM and STEAM students. Right now, our current demographic, 79% in-state, 19% out-of-state, 44 states represented besides the state of Montana, and 2% as far as our international students. That's starting to pick up again, but unfortunately, the circumstances of the last few years has stymied that, and so looking for ways to increase and support those students as well. So scholarships at Montana Tech. I am very proud that through the work that we do in the Montana Tech Foundation, we award about $2 million in scholarships each year. Most of those scholarships, however, are merit-based, which means that students at 3.5 or above are receiving those scholarships, or they're program-specific, which means that the longer that a program has been around, the more scholarships they have. So we talked about mining engineering being one of the first programs. Mining engineering has a ton of scholarships for students. Biological sciences doesn't. Nursing doesn't. Mathematics doesn't. So what we're trying to do is level that playing field. The majority of scholarships are also available for a student once they prove their mettle. We hear that over and over. So after their first year or second year that they've completed at school, there's a ton of upper level scholarships that are available, but they are also available to the best and brightest. So for biological sciences, for a student to receive a scholarship, they have to be the best. They have to be in the upper percentile as far as their grades and what they're doing. There has to be something unique about them. They have to be a student athlete, all of these elements. And so what we have been trying to do over the years is level that playing field so that there's more for everyone, so that those students are supported. And as a Montana university, we realize that we have a special obligation to the students of our state. So that brings me to the crux of what I'm here to talk about today. And I'll get into the meat of it because there's some misperceptions as far as this gift, and I'm happy to talk through any of those questions. So we were lucky enough that last year, Ryan and Lisa Lance committed to make a $31 million gift to the university, the largest in our history. The way that that gift is laid out, $5 million immediately went to establish a new endowed position. It's the Endowed Chair of Energy for the university. And that position will coalesce all of our departments to look at how the unique programs of Montana Tech can address the energy future in a way that is responsible, is safe, and puts us at the forefront as far as our students and our graduates. $1 million from that gift went to scholarships for student athletes. And there's times that I get a groan from that, but what I need you to know is that the more scholarship dollars that we have to support student athletes, the less waivers are coming from the state side. The less waivers that are coming from the state side mean more support for students overall. So it's very strategic in the fact that if we make those student athlete scholarships sustainable as far as their athletic endowment, then it provides more resources for students across the board. And then, and this is my favorite part because I'm net deep in this program, $23.5 million went to establish the Lance Scholars Program. $500,000 of that is made immediately available so that we start the program this fall. And then the rest of that goes into an endowment. So in perpetuity, we will be able to award $4,000 scholarships to 50 Montana students every single year. And that's renewable, so that means that a student receives $16,000 in scholarships, not just $4,000 in scholarships. And the great thing about this is that it is not specific to program. It is not specific to where in Montana they're from. It is not specific to any sort of extracurriculars that they are participating in. And it addresses that merit issue that a student, there's an unwritten criteria in there that there's a preference for students from 3.2 to 3.49 because those students are deserving, they'll be successful at Montana Tech, and right now there just isn't much for them because the majority of the incoming scholarships that are being awarded satiate at 3.5. So, what this allows is for students to be curious, which is wonderful because so often a student will receive a scholarship, but they receive the scholarship because they're going into metallurgical and materials engineering, they're going into nursing, they're going into mining, they're going into petroleum. What this allows a student to do is to be able to, one, try what they want to try, not dependent on scholarship dollars that are supporting them. And if it doesn't fit, they don't feel like they're obligated to stay. They can be curious and try something else at the university because that scholarship will port with them, which there just aren't many of. And so we'll have our first cohort of Lance Scholars this fall. It's a bit like when you put all of this together, it's like planning a party and really hoping that people will show up. You hope you meet that 50, right? Because we want to have the impact on the university, we want to have the impact for our students, we want to have the impact for the donor. You know, that's a hard pill to swallow too. Like, hey, we really need this, and thank you so much to giving this. Sorry, we only got 30. The nice thing is, we sit at 210 students that applied for that scholarship. So first offer letters, the first wave of offer letters have gone out, and then from there, dependent on the students that accept, then there'll be a second wave that will fill it, but we will have 50 students for sure in the fall. We'll add an extra component to that with programming, and the programming is close to my heart too because it'll be a monthly get-together, optional because we know how kids are, right? But we're gonna make it fun, and we're gonna make it something special. And each one of those seminars is gonna focus on how people at Montana Tech make the world better, and how by the work that that person does and their association with, those students can go out and cause ripples and make the world better. And so I'm really excited to see where this will go. At full maturation of that endowment, it looks like it's possible that we'll be able to support about 68 students a year. And so I'm a manic street preacher about this. I mean, it's the first of its kind that we've had, but the good work that happens at Montana Tech we often keep a secret. Or I hear, and it's my least favorite thing to hear, is that like, it's a hidden gem. This program is a hidden gem. Or this degree is a hidden gem, or this professor is a hidden gem. And I'm a firm believer, like, we shouldn't have any. It should be like the gaudiest cocktail ring that you've ever seen in your life. So when Raylyn says you don't brag enough about yourself, I was an athlete. It's not bragging if it's true. It's not bragging if it's true at all. And there's a lot of that truth at Montana Tech. So I'm very excited that what this does is it allows us to recruit more students. It allows us to support those students in an incredibly meaningful way. And as educators, it provides you the mechanism to tell your students, if you're interested in this, there's a place for you, and this is a scholarship that could support you. And it's easy. As far as students applying for it, there's a dedicated Land Scholars page. If they apply to Montana Tech, that's the first step. They'll get a personal URL. This scholarship will be embedded in that personal URL. So the 3 steps to apply for the Land Scholars are apply to Montana Tech, fill out the dedicated Land Scholar application. There's one question as far as beyond receiving your degree, what good do you want to do in the world? And then fill out the FAFSA. And that is another thing that I'm a Manic Street preacher about. If you have students in your life, even if they feel that they would not qualify for aid, have them fill out the FAFSA. Even if this year is not the best example. It will be. It will be. Everything has growing pains. But have them fill out that FAFSA, and have them fill out the FAFSA every year. Because if they don't, and that's the hidden secret of higher education support, is that they use that matrix for a lot of scholarships that don't have a need component. They use that as the mechanism to bring in the information to award a whole lot of other scholarships. So I know when I was at Tech, I didn't. I never filled it out. And I just figured to myself that with my parents' income, there's no way that I would qualify. What it did was it eliminated the possibility at a whole lot of scholarships that don't have any need element to it at all. And that's not just at Montana Tech, that's at any university. So anyway, I think what I want to say, I want to applaud the work that is done by our departments, and specifically what you're going to hear about today as far as CFWIP and our biological sciences program. I see Hannah in the front row. Hannah, you don't know this, but Hannah, when my little girl was, I'd say probably about 9 or 10, Hannah was an intern for us at the foundation. And Hannah said to Sullivan, my daughter, one day, she asked her if she'd want to come over to the biology lab and just see what the lay of the land was. And Sul came home that day after being with Hannah. And I think that, you know, she cleaned Petri dishes and beakers, and she was so excited. It was a rock star experience for her. And it supported this curiosity that she continued, and then this past summer, she was accepted to the metallurgical and materials camp that our program put on. They put it on because they figure that students don't know what metallurgical and materials engineering is. And they immersed the kids in it, and it combined the elements for her of this science that she loves and was ignited and supported by you, and this art that she loves. And so Sully is joining us in the fall to pursue metallurgical and materials engineering. But oftentimes, that's just the introduction, right? They just need the introduction. And so I mentioned that disproportionate 69-39 as far as the male-female makeup of Montana Tech. I'm really excited to say that as far as applicants for the Land Scholarship, we're at 49-51. 49% female, 51% male, and equitable as far as our College of Letters, Sciences, and Professional Studies and our Lance College of Mines and Engineering as far as those applicants that came in. So the opportunity to support our students in a meaningful way, change a little bit. I mean, and there's going to be some growing pains there, right? As far as what people think of Montana Tech for and what they think that Montana Tech offers. What Montana Tech offers are whole students that think about how they can have an impact on the world, and all of our programs do that. So very excited about this scholarship program and the fact that it is going to create better pathways for our students to join us and be supported during that journey. So that is really all that I have for you today, but I would be incredibly open to any questions that you have, whether it be about the Lance Scholars Program, the Lance Gift, or about scholarships in general for your students.
I was just curious to get a sense of how far $4,000 will go. Like, what is the
Excellent.
actual cost of attending, whether it's just tuition?
Perfect. So never say just tuition, because you'll hear tuition and fees can absolutely be like a deal breaker for some kids. So for an in-state student, you're looking about $8,500 as far as the annual tuition for Montana Tech. That does not take in room and board, but with the Lance Scholarship, it does take in fees. So there are additional fees that can be program dependent, or if a student is in the Lance College of Mines and Engineering, there's $1,800 in fees off the top on an annual basis that are split $900 each semester. So there's a lot of kids that will get into school and think that their scholarships or their financing, that they have figured that out, and they don't plan for those fees, and they've got a $900 bill come August 26th or whatever it is. And so the reason why I say don't dismiss the fees is I don't think that we do a great job of communicating that to students. And so sometimes those fees can feel like a gotcha. A lot of previous scholarships that we have set up from the impetus of the foundation in 1968 until now are for tuition. They specifically say to support tuition. In the last 2 years, we've really made a meaningful commitment to make sure that that's tuition and fees, so that that's covered for a student. So for an in-state Montana student, you're at about $8,500. For an out-of-state student, overall, it comes out to about $21,000. Most of those students will qualify for either the WUI or the Advantage Scholarship, which will bring that down to about $10,000. And we have some of our departments that have been addressing that element because we realize that there is a finite number of Montana students that are going to be coming. I mean, we want all of them, right? But we realize that there's some diminished return there. People are just having less kids. There are students that are pursuing other outlets besides higher education. We realize as far as growing enrollment that there needs to be support for our out-of-state students too. And so at the departmental level, we have folks that have been working with some of our industry partners to have out-of-state specific scholarships. And so Rio Tinto Kennecott is one that for our mining, our metallurgical materials and geological programs, they have set up scholarships to help them recruit out-of-state students.
I was just curious, Highland College, I just started hearing about it, and
Okay.
I would love to know just a little bit about the history and like
You bet.
how that happened, because I think that's really cool. And is it a 4-year, is it a 2-year? I just don't know much.
So Highlands College was at one time the VOTEC and at one time the College of Technology. And what it is now is the home to our 2-year AS degrees, as well as our certificates and our workforce development programs. And there are certain programs at Highlands that have pathways from them getting their AS degree and then transferring up to Montana Tech. As a matter of fact, 2 of the Lance Scholars students, we have it in there that it is open as far as transfer students, Montana students that are transfer students from another university, as well as Highlands students that are pursuing the 3rd and 4th year of a 4-year degree. And so they have really honed in the last 2 years on programs that have workforce development elements to them and partnered with different industry partners that provide those kind of immediate pathways out. So I think they saw the initial success with our pre-apprentice lineman program. And now as far as their automotive technology program, their welding program, they have degrees that are incredibly needed as far as the workforce. and the recognition that a 4-year degree is not for everyone. And it doesn't have to be. And it's okay for us to talk about that. I think that oftentimes when we talk about higher education, there is an importance on the elements of the rigor, and that there's a legitimacy there. There's a legitimacy as far as workforce development too, that someone can make a really good living and they can be very fulfilled, and they can also make a positive impact on the world around them too. And so Highlands really specializes and focuses in that. And people are recognizing that as well. So on the scholarship level there, we're currently working with a private foundation to provide 3 scholarships a year that would end up being full ride scholarships for the most part. Tuition is less, so it's at about $4,700 on an annual basis, and figure that's going to be for 2 years. In automotive technology and welding technology specifically, we have another family trust that just set up a scholarship that's for any of the programs at Highlands, and those will be $5,000 scholarships for 8 students that they'll provide on an annual basis. And that's something too, you'll hear people talk about an endowed scholarship, an annual scholarship. An annual scholarship is something that someone pays in and it's immediately expendable. So they give you $5,000 and you award $5,000. An endowed scholarship is something that goes into a pot. That principal is invested and never ever touched. And what's awarded is the earnings from that on an annual basis. But the great thing there's good things about both. The good thing about an annual scholarship is those resources are there and immediately available. The good thing about the endowed is that it will build and it will be there forever. So it's kind of a perpetual motion machine. Wonderful. Well, my name is Shannon Panisko, and I'm with the Montana Tech Foundation. As you move forward, if you have any questions, all my contact information is on our website. I have an enviable position that I get to work and change lives every day. Even on a stressful day, I get in my car and I was able to do something good. Large universities, they have embedded fundraisers in like each of their departments. We aren't. We're kind of boutique, if you will, at Montana Tech. And so as such, I'm the embedded fundraiser for all of our departments. And so as someone who's curious, it's awesome because I get to learn things every day. If someone would have said that I am equally excited to be here with you guys today, or taking someone down the Underground Mine Education Center on a tour, or in our Nursing Simulation Center like 10 years ago, and I'm like, you're drunk, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, I mean, it's true. I get to dip my toe in a little bit of everything. Because like Raylan said, I get to go out and get the funds to support all of these things, find opportunities for people that want to make a difference. And there are so many areas at Montana Tech where you can make a difference. So it's an embarrassment of riches as far as what I get to do. So I appreciate so much being here and the time that I've had with you. But if I can provide support or be a resource for you in the future, just know I'd be happy to.
A little coffee break, little bathroom break, and then we'll have Kate up